Hello, everyone. Susan here. Let me just type in what we're going to be chatting about today. Okay, and the question of the day is plastic surgery the road to happiness or the answer to happiness? So let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to do this and then hold on. Where did that go? Why can't I find this? I'm losing. Here we go. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, so I am here again with my friends Alyssa and Phyllis. And we have a lot of things that we want to talk about, and which is why we keep coming back on here to do these lives. And one of them, I think talking about is actually, before I get into the topic, is something that I've realized over the last few years doing Get in the Groove is super helpful, because there's a lot of us that are feeling a lot of things that we think we're the only ones feeling them. But then when you get together with your girlfriends and you start talking about them, well, no, that's not the case. Everybody's kind of experienced them or, having issues with certain things. So the topic of today is plastic surgery, because it seems to be out there in a very big way, not just amongst people our age, but younger generations. It's all over my social feed. I don't know about you guys. And anyway, so I'm kind of curious what you guys think about it, because I have my opinions about it, but I don't know, maybe yours are different.
First?
Well, no, I
have a lot of opinions.
You have a lot of opinions about it.
We'll go 1, 2, 3. No.
One of the things that when we decided we were going to do this topic, one of the things I really started to think about is like, why? Why exactly am I thinking about doing it? Have I thought about doing it? Have I done a little something?
Well, that might be a good place to start. We should probably fess up, right? And talk about if we have or haven't, or should we wait?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It could be
We're
the
just
big
gonna get
reveal
right
at the
into it?
end.
Head to toe.
It could be the big reveal at the end.
No, I didn't bring
anxiety about
pictures.
this all week.
I didn't bring pictures. Well, one of the things I thought about was that I think for myself, and we're just talking kind of personally here, I think that I have been kind of encouraged and talked into things.
Like what?
Well,
I don't...
not just by the culture, which I think is
Yeah,
true.
that for sure.
Because, I'm the oldest of the three of us here. And I really didn't do anything at all until about a year ago. I didn't do anything. And about a year ago, I tried a couple of things like Botox and filler. And
Just a year ago.
yeah.
Wait,
wow.
can I just ask you
Yeah.
a question? You hadn't done anything, no plastic surgery or
No, wait,
anything before that?
I did. So I'm comparing. I'm fessing up to everything.
Okay. You're just talking about fillers. You're not talking about plastic surgery.
I'm talking about the whole shebang, about doing something to your face, mostly because you see signs of aging. And by the way, you talked about younger people. I mean, you know that they're doing it even in their 30s and 40s and whatever, and that's everybody's choice to do what they want. But it's the reason for why. So for me personally, I really sort of thought about this. I've done 2 plastic surgeries in my life, if you will. About 12 years ago, I had a breast reduction, and I don't even know what it was, but maybe it was, I can't remember if it was a little before that or a little after that, I had my eyes done. Don't look closely because they look terrible. Because, here's the thing, I did always want to have breast reduction, probably starting in my 40s.
But you think
50s.
a lot of people go through
Right,
that. Yeah.
but I was terrified of it and the idea of it and being under anesthesia and just the idea of surgery. I didn't do cosmetic things. I didn't wear makeup. I still really don't wear makeup to a fault. I will say that. I admit that. But so it was a really big deal. And eventually, I was already in my 60s. I decided to do it. And it was, in fact, the best thing I ever did in terms of that, for comfort, for self-esteem, for just general feeling better about myself and about my body. And it felt more organic to who I am.
So I have a question about that. So I think that's like, that kind of plastic surgery was because there was something that was bothering you and made you feel uncomfortable, right? You had large boobs and you wanted to make them more proportionate.
It's not fun to carry around.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, is that the same thing as like when you think about going and having a facelift as you're aging? Because like I get that. Like I I had my
Also for
eyes
your
done
back,
30
I believe.
years ago.
Yeah.
Because I had deep bags and it really bothered me, and I just got divorced, and it was something I did because it drove me crazy when I looked in the mirror. Now, I don't know, is that the same thing when you look in the mirror and you see all those wrinkles, like that you feel so compelled to go do something about it? I don't know. Maybe it is the same thing. I hadn't really thought about it.
I mean, you know,
It is in a way.
I don't. Yeah, it is in a way. I mean, the thing about my eyes, I've always had heavy lids and kind of deep circles. But honestly, I have never felt that what I looked like was the key to my happiness, because we're talking about that, nor to success of anything that I tried to do. I never really focused on that, and maybe it's because if we're going to do therapy, I had a mother who was obsessed with makeup and with appearance and how you look. So maybe I kind of went the other way. But I really never would have done anything with my eyes. But I was really kind of encouraged, I won't say sort of pushed, but encouraged to do it by several friends, who would notice that, that I did and do again, by the way. It doesn't last, in my opinion. And so I did it. And you know what? I never got any satisfaction from it.
Wow.
It never made me
You
feel...
never got satisfied?
It was extremely modest results because
Okay.
of the kind of eyes I have,
Okay.
whatever. And really, I didn't do it because I thought about doing it or wanted to do it. And I feel kind of the same way about the Botox and the fillers, which is why I brought it in. I'm already 76. I think a year ago was the first time I tried it. And then I keep thinking, like, what is the end game for me about doing all of this? And, I kind of want to hear from you. I have my own feelings, and obviously about it could, talk forever, and I won't. But that's kind of what I'm wondering about for me going forward, and for people who are my age going forward.
Well, I think that's a part of the problem with what's going on out there in social media, is that there's definitely going to be a disconnect between what you see out there and what, the befores and afters. And like, if you do something for yourself, what kind of results you're going to get. So I think you have to be, realistic about, if you're going to do this, like what is really going to be the outcome. Like, you're not going to be a different person. I think particularly at our age, 60s or 70s, we're not going to all of a sudden look like we looked when we were 40. Like,
Right.
it just and if you did, I think you might look a little weird.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Like Kris Jenner looks like she's in her 40s.
I mean, she
50s.
looks, it's kind of remarkable, but I
Yeah.
also wonder, how much of it is surgery, how much is photography, how much is filters.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff exists out there. So
I'm
it's
just
hard
curious.
to
I mean, I
say.
feel like you, Phyllis, and you, Susan, also feel good about yourselves. Like, I think that comes into
That's-
play here
yeah.
very much. Like,
Yeah.
you've come to terms with who you are and your age and like how you look and like, haven't you? Like, you kind
Let's
of like,
get
love
real.
who you
I'm
are.
not that thrilled about being 76. I did not want to say that. I mean, realistically...
No, you're thrilled about
But
being 76.
You're thrilled at who
Well,
you
I'm
are.
thrilled I made it to 76.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah,
point.
yeah,
That's
for
my
sure.
point.
No, for sure. Talking about our feelings about getting older and what that means is another sort of topic, but
The next
is another
one.
Yes.
topic.
Yeah.
But no, I feel self-conscious every time I have to tell somebody how old I am. But you know what? If I get rid of these little lines around my mouth, take a look. You see, they're there. Those
They're
little
like
lines
smoker's
around my
lines.
mouth. Well, I never smoked in my life, but I called them my Grandma Esther lines, because when I was a little kid, my grandma used to have these lines all over the place,
Yeah.
and I'd love them to be gone, but they're there. This
Yeah.
is who I am now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
we have a visitor.
We have.
Wait, excuse me. I don't know what this is. Anyway,
Okay.
I can't read
Hold
that.
on.
Hold on.
We have feedback.
We got feedback that the
from the
camera's
technical
not at a
crew.
good angle.
Hold on.
Okay.
That might be better.
Ooh, that's better.
good.
Okay.
Oh, that is better.
That is. Okay.
Is it? No, I don't think it. Hold on. Okay.
Sorry about that. Oh,
Well, I don't know.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah,
okay.
that's better.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's-
Yeah, no, because we realized we were showing.
This
lot
is a
of
little
the
mom
ceiling.
and pop operation.
Well, I was going to say, for me, it's interesting. I grew up and my mom was obsessed with plastic surgery. Had her nose done, had her face done. She was so
interesting.
obsessed with how she looked.
Both of you guys.
And it was such a turnoff, and then she was obsessed with how I looked. And I always wanted to get a nose job. Everyone always said, your nose is so big. And I went and had a doctor's appointment, and the doctor said, if we make your nose smaller, you're not going to be able to breathe. Because I had
Really?
I had
Is that
breathing
it? Wow.
issues. Yeah, he's like, you know, you will not be able to breathe as well. And I was like, okay, I just got to become okay with this big nose.
And so, well, first of all, you have a beautiful nose, but like,
It's
so what?
big.
So what happened?
So I
Did
ended
you
up
still
not.
think about
No,
it?
I still think about it.
you
I
do?
do, definitely.
You do. Interesting.
But I had another thing wrong with my body. I was very bottom heavy.
You had nothing wrong. You had not. Okay, let's
I
just
had a
back
butt
up from
and
there.
thighs
Something that was that you
bothering
were
me.
uncomfortable with.
My
Yeah.
dad was a football player, and I got his butt and thighs. By the way.
You're like the skinniest.
I know. I did, and I did liposuction like 30 plus years ago.
Right.
And I was in heaven. You know, for the first time in my life, I walked into a store here in Los Angeles when I moved from New York, and I tried on some slacks. I'll never forget this. This was shattering. And the woman goes, "You have speed skater thighs."
Oh my God, so LA.
Life is cruel.
I was like, I'm doing it. I have to do it. I cannot move on in the world with speed skater thighs. And I'm really happy
But you know,
I did it.
But I think that's
Right?
it's interesting. One that like we did something like a long time ago
Yeah.
because it bothered us. Now I don't know if you went through this and we've had this conversation, but it wasn't. I was not. I don't know if shame is the right thing, but I wasn't really forthcoming about talking about it. Like I did it. I set it up in a way so I could do it and recover, and nobody knew about it for years. Like for years till later that I had done my eyes. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know. I guess I
None
was
of your close
embarrassed.
friends noticed? I feel like I
So what does
No,
that
because,
say?
because
Yeah.
well, this is also my whole take on all this stuff is that even today, if I do Botox or fillers or whatever, I don't do it that often. But what I'll say to whoever's doing is just do it a little bit so I look like I've had a good nap or I slept well. Like I don't want to change the way that I look, but I want to look a little refreshed.
Rested.
That's
Rested.
my objective.
You know, I think the
today
three of
for-
us agree on that. Right?
Yeah, I have such mixed feelings about it because honestly, I don't mean to sound like the sort of like some hippy dippy kind of thing about it, but there is this part of me, maybe because it's such a struggle, and honestly, I am terrified of doing all of this stuff. So I probably that's part of it, but it's like why? I mean, we are getting older. I really hope to get much older. Okay, and I don't want to feel that I'm chasing something, but I guess it's part of what you're saying about road to happiness. That's where it becomes a personal decision because
totally.
because honestly, that to me is the key. If there's something really bothering you and has been bothering you for a long time, then I think it makes perfect sense to see what you can do sort of safely and reasonably to maybe see if that problem could be fixed. There's no reason, it's kind of like if something's bothering you emotionally, go to therapy, I mean, and see if you can fix it. I think that does make sense.
I think what you're saying is kind of, in a way, what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to...
Right.
It's my
Chase
way of...
beauty, chase age.
No, because, I mean, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I have to have a whole conversation with myself about, like, where the hell did those wrinkles come? They weren't here yesterday. Where did they come from?
Right.
But, I think I just want to take the edge off, just a little bit of the edge off. That's all for me
Same.
that I'm looking for. I really don't I don't have any desire to have my whole face done, but sometimes I just feel when I do that, I feel like a little refreshed. It's like I went on a vacation or something. I just look good and I feel better and I get a little pep in my step and that's it. So it's
I
not
agree.
like
Then it's worth it,
it's
yeah.
not like I'm trying to do any massive changes. I mean, somebody described to me, it's probably different today, how facelifts are done, and that was good because I never ever wanted to do it, and
It
I
scared
still
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
Terrifying.
The recovery. I don't know. I would just want to look like me.
Yeah, me
I'm
too. Yeah,
scared
me
that I'm
too.
not going to look like me.
Right, exactly.
Something's really going to be different, and I'm not. I'm going to be looking in the mirror, going, "Who is that person?"
yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I guess it becomes a really complicated issue for me,
Well,
as you
it
can
is
tell.
It's
And
complicated for everybody. I think.
we actually all have daughters, and I have
Yes.
I have two beautiful daughters-in-law and a beautiful young daughter, and they're all in their 30s. And, they're very knowledgeable and very interested in skincare and things that I wish I frankly had done. I wish I had taken better care of myself. I wish I had really known about those things before. And that, I think,
Your
is
mother,
fantastic.
who was obsessed, never told you.
Yeah.
You know what? I was so kind of turned off in a way
Same here.
by the cabinets
Yeah.
filled to the brim with 10,000 kinds of products, and her it was her insecurity. She felt what she had to offer was that she was attractive, and so that's the psychology part of it. But for me, it was too much. I felt like I can't live up to that, So we
went
should
the
stop the
opposite
therapy here
direction.
right now. But it was, so no, I never really went to her to say what was good. And by the way, we're talking about 40 years ago, so things are very different. What's available now,
Right.
what can be done now.
Well, that's
But-
sort of the other thing. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
no,
is that
I'm-
there are things that you can do. They're not going to change. That are proactive that can,
Right.
like help you, help your skin as you
Right.
get
Right.
older. You
Yeah,
know.
a lot of cosmetic procedures.
Or not
Or-
even procedures,
or-
but just even creams and
Yeah,
stuff
okay.
like that. They're
was
helpful.
thinking
They're still not going to take you back 20.
microneedling, all
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So-
and the Botox and the filler
But
a
it-
little bit, just on a little light scale. I
But
mean, I
it-
think it
but
really can change.
Honestly,
sure.
I don't think any of us are here to say like you should or shouldn't, because I think you got to do what makes you feel good. Like at the
Right.
end of the day, I think that's sort of the thing. I think what's good is to talk about it, be informed.
Yeah.
Talk to other people that have done it.
Right.
It's like I think I've talked to people that had their face done, and at the end of it, they're like, okay, I don't think I would, if I knew what I was getting into, I might not have done that. So, that's
Yeah.
sort of like be informed is,
Well,
I
that
think
would be
the thing.
that obviously would be my fear. But I think just to go back for 1 second to what we started with, is it the road to happiness? That's kind of how we phrased it.
Right.
So I really think that is a very good mark of whether or not you go and do anything that's sort of a permanent change to yourself. Would I feel better, if I didn't have these lines around me, or if I had,
Would you? That's a good question, right?
I do focus on it, as we can tell by this conversation.
The truth comes
but
out.
I do focus on it. But I know in the end that the things that I am striving for this, this chapter of my life, as we call it, are not really going to be solved by having fewer wrinkles around my lips. And and the downside might be I don't like the way it looks when I do it, and it's not what's hindering me going forward. And I think that's the key, really.
I
agree.
think somebody said when we started, like we all feel pretty good right now. We're
Yeah,
all in
yeah.
a pretty good
Good.
place and pretty happy. So I do think by doing these things, it's not life changing. It
Right.
doesn't. Like I don't think it changes your life. Like when I actually had my eyes done, I had just gotten divorced. Did I think maybe somewhere in my head I thought, oh, if I do this, like it's gonna change, like
Right.
a lot of things. No, that's not what happens. And I think sometimes there is that disconnect between, when you start and decide to do it, and I think maybe people oftentimes are disappointed that
Yeah.
they thought their life was going to change in a certain way by doing this, but it's more about maybe the internal work you have to do.
Well,
when I got single, we talked about that last week.
Right.
I did some of that stuff because I was like, oh my God, I'm 64.
there,
I'm
yeah.
out there. And I wanted to look better. And it really didn't change anything in terms of the outside appearance. It didn't, but it did, the inside. It didn't change me on the inside. I had to work on the inside in a different way.
We all
Just
do.
to really feel good in my body and accept my age. That's the big thing. Like, I am where I am.
Well, I think
So-
that's sort of the thing. We are what we are, and thank goodness we are, right? We're this age, and hopefully we'll be a lot older, and
Yeah.
age get older and older and older. But it's a question of how do we approach that journey? What are we going to do? And
I'm still struggling with the naked part of like
Yeah.
the cellulite. So I am doing something for the cellulite, but it's not
What is
really
it? What are you
working.
doing? Wait a minute, what are you doing?
I am doing the Venus Legacy.
What is that?
So it's heat and it has a suction, and she goes up and down the fronts and backs of my legs. And I've done like 10. She goes takes 10 treatments, and I'm before picture, after picture. It doesn't look much different.
How many
That's all.
treatments?
10.
Have you
10.
done
I've
10?
done 10,
And
it
it's the
still
same?
does. Yes, it looks the same. So
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
little bit of a bummer.
Okay,
That is
okay.
not always the case with these procedures.
You know
So
what? It's funny.
I think my cellulite's pretty intact.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because now we talk about something
here to
else about
stay.
It is here to stay.
crepey skin. Okay.
Crepey skin.
crepey.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so bad.
So some of you you all know that
Should we
that
all
I've lost
lift our arms?
you all know that I've lost a bunch of weight over the past year and a half or whatever. and feel great about that, obviously. But the downside is that because I'm 76 years old, there's none of that. You know how you do that test
Elasticity,
when you
it's called.
pull your arm?
Elasticity.
No elasticity left when your skin does not. And so that drives me nuts. Okay, so that drives me
that
crazy.
does. So that more so drives.
That
me
drives
crazy.
me nuts.
You're
I am.
not talking about one specific area like here.
Whole body?
No, I'm not talking
Whole
about. I'm
body
talking about.
creepiness?
I
Talking
am
right here.
kind of a full service crepey body. There's several areas if you put on a bathing suit, if I
Oh,
put on a bathing
God.
suit, it's out there
bathing suit thing.
for everybody to see. So I find myself emailing companies that are advertising things, telling them about my specific product and problem, and seeing what product they think they might have. So that is something, and I don't honestly believe anything does anything
But
about it.
that's kind
But-
of the thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I
that's,
absolutely
this,
agree
this,
with
this,
Yeah.
that's like a bigger conversation of what we're talking about. Like we're getting older, things happen. Our skin is going to age. It's a question of how it ages. It cannot go back to what it was
Right,
when we
right.
were 25
Right.
years old, right?
Right.
No.
And so, but the world out there, social media, advertising, marketing, they want you to believe that. So we all fall into those traps
Yes.
about what is that? How do you do that? Oh, there's a cream that can fix that?
Like fix the legs, or have you guys seen on social media that round thing that you rub it up and down your thighs that actually helps cellulite? I mean, it's been selling
Did
a
you do
ton.
it?
Got it. Didn't do a thing
That's
either.
what I'm
I've
talking
tried
about.
everything
We
for
can't
yourself.
fall for those things.
No, that's
But the
true.
only thing I think for crepey skin is like lifting weights. No, working
doesn't
out.
really
No,
help.
it
No,
doesn't really.
Like it doesn't. Do
Long
it.
sleeves.
Oh,
That's it. That's it.
pants.
That's
Pants
it.
and mostly.
Because you know
And
what?
a turtleneck.
If I'm not careful, I'm going to have my mother's medicine cabinet pretty soon filled with all of those creams.
The
We're gonna try to
elixirs,
do
the
something.
elixirs.
The elixirs. But even there, do I think it would make me happier or my life more fulfilled? I don't know. Maybe it would, but I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
but it is something that personally bothers me. But guess what? You're right. The upside, the Pollyanna part of it is, I'm 76 years old. I still have energy. I still get to do
Yeah.
things. I still want to move forward, do new things.
Yeah,
As long as I can do
vibrant,
that,
energized.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm trying to focus on that more than I am focusing on, am I going to go back and get some Botox?
Yeah.
Although your skins look so great, honestly, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, you know what? I don't have to totally,
Well, I think my
decide
skin
that.
is great from peptides. That's a whole other.
Oh, yeah,
that's not going to be a whole other
that,
one.
yeah.
But I started taking peptides 3 months ago, and my skin has completely changed. You don't
Really?
even need Botox, filler. It's
Peptide?
the copper peptide is a skin
Okay, we'll
elasticity.
save
We'll
that
get
for
all that.
another
Yeah,
conversation.
We'll save that
but
for
you
another one.
started something a little bit ago about our daughters. We didn't really finish that. So we all have daughters.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about doing all these procedures and coming home and talking about them with our daughters who are in their 30s or late 20s? Do we want them to do it in their late 20s and 30s?
They are all doing
I think
it. By the way,
all
in
the
case you
all
don't
the
know,
girls,
they're all doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Right.
all the young women in their 30s. I mean, all the young women. That's ridiculous, but plenty of them
Yeah, that's
are
what I'm
doing
saying.
something.
A lot of them
Yeah.
are.
Plenty of them doing it.
And we're saying it's okay because we're doing it, right?
I'm not saying anything. I don't have any agency in this. I mean, they're grown up for
Right,
that matter,
true.
so they can do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Do I think when I look at the young women in my family, did they look beautiful and perfect, and they should treasure these years for what they? Yes, but they don't want to hear that from me.
Right.
They don't want to hear
I
that
do
from
too.
me.
I think
So-
the way it gets presented to me when I talk to younger women about it, it's like a proactive type of thing.
That's what I hear.
I don't know whether it works or not, but I think that's like I don't think they're looking in the mirror and saying, "Oh, that I look old and wrinkly." They're
No.
saying, "I like the way I look and I want to preserve it." I don't know that it's realistic, but I think that's
Right.
sort of where they're
But
coming
they're also
from.
chasing, beauty. They're
Totally. But look
like-
at what we live in. Social media. This is like we get fed this
Right.
every day, and
yeah.
every day I think there are things out there that actually make you feel like crap.
Yeah.
Because you're not as this, you're not as that. You don't do that. And it's like you at some point I think you've got to figure out for yourself how you can disconnect from that so that it doesn't really start to get
Right.
to your head.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think that a lot of what I was trying this past year, the few things I tried, and back to the eye surgery, back to the eye job, it really came from kind of pressure on the outside, and I think that's, for me personally, what I'm looking at. Like, what is it I really want to do? What is it I really want to fix and change? in terms of, you know, my physical self.
I was just going to ask that.
And-
Do you have something you
Well,
want to fix and
losing
change
weight
right
was
now?
huge.
Oh,
Losing
yeah,
weight was
that
huge for me.
did
Yeah.
that.
You did
Well,
that.
you know, it's an everyday, you know, it's an everyday sort
Yeah.
of, I wouldn't necessarily say struggle, but I'm focused on it every day. You know, so I want to change that. So I did change that, but I also want to change. I want to exercise more. I
Yeah.
want to, you know, get stronger. All of those things.
You want to help
That's the
little bit of
physical
creepy
part.
skin.
I'm going to try. I'm rubbing that
I'm gonna
cream
try
in
to.
when it comes in the mail. I'm rubbing it in. But
I'm going to try for the cellulite as well, no matter until I die.
You guys, you know, just give me the money. Give me the money. I'll take the money, and I'll invest it for you. Then I'll give
Is
it
there
back
something
to
you want to do?
Yeah, I think about things all the time because what I find really fascinating is as I look in the mirror day, week after week, I'll look and I'm like, wait, what did that happen? Like what, you know, it's like something like my whole life, I kind of always like my nose. I hate my nose right now. I feel
Wow.
like it's gotten, as you age, your
Yeah.
face changes a little bit. And, you know, I would never do it, but I would love to have a little fix there, but I'm not doing it. You know, it's just not going to
Yes,
happen.
yeah.
But I have a little conversation with myself, and I'm like, that would be nice. Okay, really, not really. Let's just move on. But like I feel like every week there's something new. It's sort of like how I wake up in the morning. I'm like, what hurts? You know, now I wake up. I'm like, well,
What's the new product or what's the new
different?
Yeah.
You know, that
Oh, on
wasn't
your body.
before. You know,
Yeah.
and I think we're all kind of going through those things and things that we didn't worry about and things didn't happen. I mean, I don't have this problem, but I know a lot of my friends like losing hair,
Yeah.
you know, loss of hair and
That's
hair
me.
being where it's not supposed to be
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
wrinkles and it's just all this kind of stuff. But this is, I think I have to somehow, I know it sounds so weird, like figure out it's the gift of aging or something. It's like, how do we
It
put
is.
it in
There's some
perspective?
balance. You have
Yeah.
to just find some balance.
It
you
is,
know?
it is.
There are
It-
some things we could do, and there are some things we don't want to overdo it. I don't want to be obsessed.
Yeah.
And I could get there. I could be obsessive.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
want my girls to see me obsessed. I want them to see that I'm okay where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm doing some of the little things.
Well, I think that's it. I think you have to do the stuff that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think any of us are here to tell people what they should or shouldn't
Yes.
be doing. I
Yeah.
think, if anything, it's like try to embrace where you are in your life and enjoy it and do what makes you feel good.
Maybe I will do that nose job.
I can only do one
We'll
less.
get back to you on
I
that.
hated that this nose.
Maybe you can get a twofer. You know,
Yeah, we go together.
if when I'm 91, I would prefer to have a life and look like Jane Goodall looked when she died
Amazing.
at
Beautiful.
91.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
healthy. You know,
She looked
kind of. She
beautiful.
looked beautiful. She
Yeah.
looked beautiful, and in part she
I
looked
think
beautiful.
the word is handsome.
Is that what you?
No, those are the older women. They're handsome.
No, I think she looked
No,
beautiful.
she did look beautiful.
And I think you know that's if the point being, I'm not going to go live with the chimpanzees, but I think the point being is that you find what makes you excited in life. You find what keeps you going. Harder and harder to do. And we'll talk about that as you get older. Harder to find those passions, but I think that honestly is what attracts people to you as you get older, more than having a face with
A
beautiful
beautiful
I think
face?
you're
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
spend your time and energy learning
Yeah.
new things, being with
Yeah.
people, and being active, and it will all be
And
good.
also starting to love yourself. Like when I started to love myself, I feel like everything, my facial features changed.
They do.
Because I was happier.
For sure.
When you're happy and you love who you are, everything does kind of
Wow.
chill out, and also you have that vibe. You put that energy out there. So even with the big nose and the cellulite, it's okay.
So on that note,
Yeah.
I think we've come up with like love yourself.
Yes,
And if you
right.
want to do it, fine.
Yes.
If you don't, it's cool.
Because today
and-
there's so many, they're better procedures.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
than
yeah,
there were
yeah,
years ago.
yeah, but-
So now it's easier.
But
more expensive.
Beware, buyer beware. That's all I would say. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's been great chatting with you. We'd love to hear from you if there's anything else that you'd like to hear us chatting about. We've got a whole list of things, but we'd love to hear what you're interested in. So here we go.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you guys later. Bye.
I'm not sure about this one.
Wait, what are you not sure about? The way, yeah.
Let's see it.
Okay.